Can we talk about Tyler Perry's Divorce Sisters and the mid-season finale episode, Birds of a Feather? And y'all let me know in the comment section if you watch it, you plan on watching it, don't want to watch it, but I guarantee you after this review, you gonna want to watch it. Let's get into it. Tyler Perry Studios, Tyler Perry Production, Tyler Perry writers did not hold back in this latest episode. We got mess, we got dramas, we got cliffhangers, and I gotta say, whoever wrote that episode deserves a raise because there was so much going on that I had to be like, oh, let's talk about it. So let's talk about Naomi meeting with her friends. I liked how in this scene you see all of them in a circle, and then you notice that Naomi is on one side of the circle, Rashida's on the other side of the circle. Geneva is between Naomi and Rashida because she's close with them. But then you see Bridget and Tiffany, they're on the opposite side of the circle. So I thought that was a good synopsis to talk about. And then when they all spoke about how they felt about one another, but then Rashida had to tell Naomi like, hey, I'm tired of your foolishness and tired of your games, and I'm done. Because Rashida is always defending Naomi and her behavior, but sometimes there's that one friend that just never grows up. She never sees fault in her actions, and sometimes you have to make the decision to let that friend go. But while they were in there talking, they hear Myron on Naomi's video camera. So when they turned and looked at the camera, they seen that Myron was on the phone with somebody saying that, you know, I can see how the way he looks at me, that he wants me, referring to Rashida's husband, which is a pastor on the show. So Rashida told her to turn it off, and she said, I'm gonna go get my husband and Myron, we're gonna talk about this. The friends were like, no, it's not that big of a deal. But no, she said, I want to talk about this right now. So she brings Pastor, she brings his assistant Myron. She told Naomi, play the clip. And there was rumors about them messing around, but the pastor said, no, it's nothing like that. I only see him as a friend. But Myron would not come out to say that he has feelings for the pastor. So they kept asking him, do you love him? Do you love him in the way that I love my husband? Myron kept denying it. But Pastor was so mad because he's like, I only have eyes for my wife. I am not bisexual or none of that. And I think this was another good view to see because of the simple fact of there are men that are like Myron that are in the closet even in 2025 that don't want to accept their sexuality, that they are attracted to the same gender because of religious reasons, family, friends, whatever. In the next scene, went to his office, talked to him, and he was like, well, who have you been talking to about us in a relationship type of way? Myron said it's somebody here, and he's like, is this somebody that works for me? He said, yes. He said, who? I want names. And he said, he's like, Pastor, I don't want to say it. He said, okay. And then he asked, then Myron asked, is Rashida mad at me? And he was like, well, you know how Rashida is, so she will talk to you at her own time. So we don't know who Myron been on the phone with, but all we know is it's somebody in their administration. So I know in the next episode, it's gonna get crazy. As I stated, y'all let me know about the Myron and Pastor Jefferson's relationship. Do you believe that Myron is in love with the pastor, or do you guys feel like that Jefferson might be attracted to him as well, but he's denying his feelings? Okay, now let's talk about Geneva, William, Javon, and Tiffany. Their college friend comes into town, Javon. Geneva is all smitten and she's getting all flustered. And you can see that Geneva has a thing for Javon still, or that they messed around while she was with William, which is her husband. So then William comes up with this suggestion that Tiffany, which is their friend, because they're all mutual friends except for Javon, because they met in a separate time zone, that Tiffany and Javon should go out. Now, Tiffany is Geneva's friend. So Geneva looks side-eyed. She feels some type of way because she still has feelings for Javon, and it's very obvious. She cannot hide her feelings. So this episode talks about Javon wants to go on the anniversary trip that William and Geneva is going to Italy. And he wants to take Tiffany. Now, let me tell y'all why that is red flags, red flags, red flags. This is your best friend and his wife's anniversary or trip, whatever type of trip they're doing, and you want to insert yourself and her best friend on this trip. Mind you, they have not been on no vacations. They haven't done nothing really romantic like that since they've had the baby, Anika. So Javon proposes this idea to Tiffany, the best friend now. And she was like, what? Because he was like, let's do something spontaneous. Let's do something random. He's like, let's go to Italy. And I thought to myself, Italy? And then that's when she said, ain't that the same place that Geneva and William are going to? And he was like, yeah, what's the problem? She was like, well, I already told them that I was going to babysit their daughter. And then he was like, oh, well, that's no problem. Just ask Rashida to do it. Ask Rashida to do it? Like, sir, I just met you 3-4 episodes ago. And I don't know what time zone that is in Tyler Perry land, but that's a red flag. If a man asks you to go out the country, I don't care how fine he is. I don't care how cute he is. And if y'all ain't on each other for 30 days, don't do it. It's given you gonna come up missing, okay? Like, that's a red flag. But she said, I'll think about it. There's nothing to think about. Why would you go and ruin your best friend and her husband's time? And you already made a commitment to them that you were gonna watch their daughter because they never had adult fun time since they've had a kid. So then she calls Rashida and says, hey, I have a problem. Can you help me? Rashida is a problem solver in the friend group. And she's like, yeah, what's up? She said, well, Javon asked me to go out of town with him. And she said, okay. And she was like, yeah, he wants me to go to Italy with William and Geneva. She said, what? And she said, well, who gonna watch Anika? And she said, well, I was gonna ask you if you could do it. She said, no. Like, when she said no, she asked you to do it, so you gonna do it, and I wouldn't advise you to go out on that trip with that man, and you just met that man. See, the same thing I just said earlier. Like, it sounds crazy. So she was like, okay, fine, I will tell him when we go to dinner. So, the next scene, Geneva's coming home from Naomi and that whole little sister circle mess of craziness, and she thought that she could relax her mind until she sees Javon in their kitchen making a steak. And this man is so slick. And William is so oblivious, he didn't even catch what he said. He's like, yeah, you got to marinate the steak. You got to make sure it tastes right and all the meats and flavors. And I'm like, William, baby, you don't see that this man is flirting with your wife in front of you? I said, oh, no, baby. Whoever wrote that in the line, give them a check. Because that was a slow burn of Javon saying that I'm going to keep messing with you until you tell your husband what we used to do. And if you're not going to do that, then I'm going to make you uncomfortable. Because he's really crazy. But Geneva's like, no, I don't even feel hungry. I don't even want to eat. And then William's like, no, girl, eat it. He was just eating the steak. He's like, girl, take a bite. Like, no, William, what's not clicking? No, what clicked, tell y'all about, that was a cliffhanger that had everybody shook. So while they're in the kitchen talking, Geneva hears a scream outside. Now, I don't know who wrote this part. They probably don't have kids, but to me, it didn't make any sense. I don't even have a kid. But Anika fell, and she was bleeding. And then they had to go to the hospital. And then the doctor told them, like, hey, Anika needs a blood transfusion. And William was like, okay, I'll do it. And then the doctor said, no, I think Geneva should do it. So Geneva's slow self, it wasn't clicking. Like, baby, the doctor said, you need to give a blood transfusion. And William's like, no. My wife don't like needles. But the doctor was like, okay, I would just go to the blood bank. The doctor said, you know what? She not getting girl code. She not getting the hints. I'm telling her, Geneva, you give the blood. William's like, I can do it. She's my daughter. Well, Anika is AB type blood. And then he was like, what? He was like, that's not possible. I'm O. And then she was like, well, somebody got to get blood or this baby gonna die. Or, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, that's not possible. That's not even my blood type. and he just kept looking around, and then it went black. So clearly Tyler Perry had to leave us on a cliffhanger because Geneva was acting slow, Tiffany was there, Javon was there. So, and I think that was the cue when Geneva told Javon and Tiffany to go, because she didn't want the doctor to expose her. But the doctor said, forget it, you too slow, so I'm going to tell your husband if you can't tell your husband. But she told her husband in a medical professional way that, baby, you cannot give the blood, and there is no chance that you can give the blood to this baby because y'all are not a match. That is to say this, y'all let me know in the comment section what you guys think is going to happen when this show returns back from their little break. Do you guys think that Javon is the father of Anika, or do you guys think that there was another man that Geneva was messing with? If you guys want me to do another review of Tyler Perry's Divorce Sisters, please make sure you put that in the comment section as well as the predictions that you guys think is going to happen. See you in the next one. Peace.